Hey guys.
So on Saturday I went to see The Batman with a friend and it was really good. There are a lot of stuff that I liked. I think the only negative thing that I have to say is, or a couple of the negative things I have to say is the German vocalization is not that great, and I saw it in German of course. So would definitely recommend to see it in English in its original language. It really surprised me. I didn't really doubt that Robert Pattinson could pull it off. The trailers looked awesome and the film really delivered with like everything. I mean, it looks great. Visually, it has a strong identity. It's not a very fun movie to watch because of the atmosphere. Gotham really feels like an extended character in this film and not just a set piece. And that's great, and it also plays the strength of Batman stories, which is at most detective stories, simple, where he goes on investigations. Now, one thing that I saw in the film and I thought about it, does it bother me or does it not bother me? And then I decided that it bothered me, and it was the mentioning of the founding families. That in the film, the Arkhams are mentioned and the Waynes, of course, but the Arkhams do not belong to the founding families of Gotham, and instead it's the Wayne family, like it said in the movie. The Cobblepots, the Elliots, the Kanes, and the Crowns. Those are the founding families of Gotham. Slightly a law change, but it didn't matter, that big, just matters to a comic fan like me. I gotta say, this is a very depressive movie, kind of in its feeling and atmosphere, but that doesn't make it bad, And also the violence, while it's concentrated to a few moments, it is very harsh, and I think there was a scene censored in the cinema where the Riddler does something to one of his victims and you can't really make it out. I think they censored that part. Overall, I really liked it. I liked Robert Pattinson's performance as Batman. I also like the suit, because the main difference to previous Batman suits is that the mask is separated from the neck, which allows more freedom in moving. I like the design of the Batman suit. I like the story and how it goes into the lore of Batman, how Matt Reeves plays around with that. Generally, I like that and establishes his own tone and lore, how he plays with the continuity and how he builds Gotham up to be this own character. I think that's a very strong point. Now, I can't really say anything about Catwoman because in German the vocalization is bad, and it didn't really allow me to judge her Zoe Kravitz's performance honestly, because I didn't really hear Zoe Kravitz's voice, but instead the translated voice. It's also important to notice that in the German version of the film, certain riddles don't function because they're English wordplays. So most of the stuff that I think is bad doesn't really have to do with the movie itself, but rather with the German version of the film. And then there's the point with his relationships, both to Alfred and also to Catwoman. It doesn't really feel honest how Matt Reeves set that up. It felt really superficial to me, and not genuine when he had those emotional moments, because you couldn't really build up to relating to this version of Batman. Of course, Batman, and of course, Alfred and Catwoman and Commissioner Gordon. The trouble with that is that we don't know these versions of the characters from the film. There's also something in the ending I didn't really like. I know I haven't really talked about the story, but there was a small tease, and I think that dragged down the film for me a little bit, because it could have lived very well without this certain teaser. Also Paul Dano is very amazing. I mean, Paul Dano is a multifaceted actor. He was amazing in Prisoners 2, where he had a very little screen time, and you really don't see the Riddler that much in the film, And the great thing about the Riddler is he's not an opponent that Batman can just punch his way out of, He has to beat him with his intellect, and also use most of the time the Riddler's own arrogance against him. And while you don't see the Riddler that much in the film, you always have this certain presence that he's there watching, which is just unnerving. which is also established in the first scene of the film, where it's all darkness and you see this politician, and then the lights flicker and you see for a brief moment the Riddler, so you know he's there, but the character in the film doesn't know that the Riddler is in the same room, and so it creates this tenseful situation where you're like, oh, he's gonna kill him, you know, and you can't do anything about him. For me personally, I think the car chase scene with the Batmobile is the best between Batman and the Penguin, which you could also see in the trailer a bit. That had me just on the edge of my seat, because in the cinema you hear all the sounds and it's much louder and you feel your seat vibrating, and then for a moment you see the Batmobile cruising and you're thinking like, oh, you're sitting with Batman in the car, you know, because of all the sound design, which is great. And then next you see the Penguin and you feel like you're sitting in a Penguin's car and you're getting chased by Batman, which is absolutely terrifying. And thus it was just an awesome scene, and I think the biggest action scene of the film. For those familiar with the Arkham games, this version of Batman has definitely scaled his armor settings, and he also uses a lot of tools in the film, not just his battering, you know, which is great. I think it's absolutely possible that you could build a bridge to the Joker film by Todd Phillips with this version of Batman. I don't know how, but you could, and given how Gotham is left by the end of the city, totally wrecked, you could also put up or pull through with the No Man's Land story for the next film, which we haven't seen really adapted in film either. Yeah, I think overall I give The Batman of 2022 an 8 out of 10. There's so much more I could talk about it, but I might be end of my time. And yeah, I hope you liked this video. I know I sound a little bit confused and more rambling than usual, but it's also like 4 in the morning at the time of this recording. So yeah, bye.
Okay, fuckity bye.